You wake up, you reach for coffee, your brain is chasing a chemical. You don't think twice about it, it's just morning. But the real answer to where this habit came from is far stranger than you think. Because your ancestors were doing the exact same thing. Tens of thousands of years before espresso machines existed, before agriculture, before writing, they were already chasing the same feeling. Did primitive humans use stimulants? The honest answer is yes, and not occasionally, not by accident, on purpose often, and in ways that shaped entire civilizations. Start with the basics. A stimulant is anything that speeds up your nervous system. It sharpens focus, it delays fatigue, it floods your brain with energy you didn't earn through rest. Caffeine does this, nicotine does this, cocaine, in its raw plant form, does this too. And every single one of these substances existed in nature long before humans figured out how to write their names down. So the question isn't really whether ancient humans had access to stimulants. Nature handed them out for free. The real question is whether early humans noticed the effects, sought them out deliberately, and built culture around them. They did, and archaeology has the residue to prove it. In 2004, biomolecular archaeologist Patrick McGovern analyzed pottery jars from a site called Jiahu in China. The jars were 9,000 years old. Inside, he found chemical traces of a fermented drink made from rice, honey, and hawthorn fruit. Alcohol, technically, is a depressant, not a stimulant. But the discovery mattered for a bigger reason. It proved something important. Humans were deliberately manipulating plants to alter their own brain chemistry almost as soon as they settled into permanent villages. If they were doing that with alcohol, stimulants weren't far behind. Here's where it gets stranger. Some researchers think the desire for mind-altering substances didn't just follow agriculture. It may have helped cause it. Archaeologist Andrew Sherratt proposed exactly this. He called it the Neolithic comestibles revolution. His argument was simple but radical. Early humans didn't just domesticate wheat and barley because they were hungry. Some of the earliest cultivated plants weren't primarily food at all. They were mind-altering. Poppies, cannabis, grains destined for fermentation. Sherratt suggested that the human hunger for altered states of consciousness was, in some cases, just as powerful a motivator as the hunger for calories. Think about what that means. Your entire modern world, farms, cities, granaries, tax systems, all of it might trace part of its origin not just to bread, but to the human need to feel something different. Now, step outside of Europe and Asia for a moment. Go to South America, thousands of years before the Inca ever built a stone wall. Archaeological sites in Peru have turned up chewed coca leaf remains dating back over 8,000 years. Coca, in its raw leaf form, is a mild stimulant. It suppresses appetite. It reduces fatigue. It helps at high altitude where oxygen is thin and every extra breath matters. Ancient Andean communities weren't chewing coca for a party. They were chewing it to survive brutal mountain labor, farming terraces, carrying loads across altitude that would leave most modern people gasping. That's an important distinction. Stimulant use in prehistory wasn't always about pleasure. Sometimes it was industrial. It was functional. It let the human body do more than biology alone would allow. You see the same pattern on the other side of the world. In parts of South and Southeast Asia, people have been chewing betel nut, wrapped in leaves with lime paste, for at least 4,000 years. Archaeologists have found the telltale reddish stains it leaves on ancient human teeth, preserved in burial sites. Betel nut is a stimulant. It speeds the heart. It sharpens alertness. And it became so deeply woven into daily life that in some regions, it still is today. So by now, a pattern should be forming in your head. Coffee, coca, betel nut, fermented grain. Different continents, different eras, completely disconnected human populations, all independently discovering the same basic trick. Find the plant, extract the effect, build a ritual around it. Why would that happen again and again with no communication between these groups at all? This is where researcher Giorgio Samorini enters the story. Samorini studies the deep prehistoric relationship between humans and psychoactive substances, and he's documented something unsettling. Humans are not the only species that seeks altered states. Animals do it too. elephants seeking out fermented fruit, reindeer eating hallucinogenic mushrooms and behaving strangely afterward, even insects showing preference for substances that affect their nervous systems. Samorini's argument is that the drive to alter consciousness might not be a human invention at all. It might be a deep biological instinct, one that predates humans entirely, and one your ancestors simply inherited, then refined with fire, fermentation, and ritual. That reframes the entire question, doesn't it? Maybe primitive humans didn't discover stimulants the way you'd discover a new tool. Maybe the craving came first, and the plants were just waiting to be found. Now bring this closer to home. Literally. In 1991, hikers found a mummified body frozen in the Alps. Scientists named him Ötzi. He lived over 5,000 years ago, and when researchers examined what he was carrying, they found something curious. Pieces of a birch fungus called Fomitopsis tied to leather straps on his gear. That particular fungus has mild stimulant and antibacterial properties. Nobody carries dead weight up a mountain by accident. Ötzi packed it deliberately, a stimulant in a survival kit 5,000 years before pharmacies existed. By the time you reach the ancient civilizations you actually learned about in school, Egypt, Mesopotamia, early China, stimulant use wasn't rare or exotic anymore. It was administrative. Egyptian workers building monuments were given rations that included beer, a mild source of both calories and altered mood. Chinese texts from over 2,000 years ago describe the ritual use of tea, initially as medicine, prized for the alertness it produced. What started as survival behavior in prehistory had, by the dawn of recorded history, become policy, something rulers distributed on purpose to keep laborers functioning. So here's the twist your brain probably didn't see coming. You tend to think of stimulant use as a distinctly modern problem. Energy drinks, vapes, a culture addicted to productivity hacks. But that framing gets it backwards. Modern humans didn't invent the chase for chemical alertness. Modern humans just industrialized something your ancestors were already doing in caves, on mountainsides, and in the earliest villages on Earth. The coffee in your hand this morning isn't a symptom of modern burnout. It's the current chapter in a habit that stretches back to the very beginning of human culture. The desire to push past your own natural limits, to squeeze one more hour of focus out of a tired body, to feel sharper than biology intended, that desire is ancient. It's older than farming. It might be older than language itself. So the next time you reach for that cup, pause for a second. You're not doing something new. You're doing something your ancestors were already doing 9,000 years ago in a village in China, in the mountains of Peru, on a frozen glacier in the Alps. You're just doing it with better packaging. You wake up, you reach for coffee, and somewhere back across 10,000 years of human history, someone else already understood exactly why. The more we learn about the past, the better we understand ourselves. If this video sparked your curiosity, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow Phoenix Primeval for more fascinating stories from history, science, and human evolution. Thanks for watching.